It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Welcome to Golden Hour Ventures. Today we have a super cool guest that is making waves in the running scene, and I cannot wait to hear the story about it. Charlotte Bowens has created packs that are made for everyone. Conscious Gear, they're ultra running, regular running, hydration packs, and they're made for every single person. Charlotte, I don't want to steal your thunder here, so welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, first and foremost, for inviting me to be a part of your platform and sharing me with your community. Most grateful for that. I'm Charlotte Young Bowens. I am the founder of Conscious Gear. I also say that I'm the innovator pack, the world's first hydration vest designed by for us taller, curvier, bigger bodies. So, we too can hydrate when we're being physically active. Really the kind of, I'll say short story is that I had health care back in 2014, and I ended up in the emergency room and didn't even know how I got there. But by the time I left, the doctor was like, look, you got high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you're borderline diabetic. At the time I was weighing nearly 400 pounds, and he was like, so you're morbidly obese, which was a word I had never heard before. And then based on some questions that he asked me, he said, you're clinically depressed. And I think in many respects that for years, I was listening to your podcast, a lot of people had been physically active, been in sports. That wasn't me. I had never been in sports. I've led a very, very lifestyle. And I think in many respects, I had given up on life, which is why I had this health care. But it also was a moment for me to make a decision. Either I was going to change my life or I wasn't going to change my life. And so I decided I'm going to change my life. And I tell people I did the first thing I knew to do, which is what I thought all people did, which is go to the gym, to the YMCA. And as luck would have it, I would go in there and fumble around on the machines, but then this staff member came up to me and said, look, let me help you. And he taught me how to use the treadmill because I didn't even know how to use the treadmill. And we discovered I could go 2 minutes at 2 miles per hour. And he said to me at the end of that, he said, look, good job. Now come back tomorrow and do it again. I think in many respects, he was an angel in my life because there's so many things he could have said to me after that. You know what I mean? Some of the things he could have said to me in that process. But just to say good job and do it again was like, you're okay. You're doing okay. You can do more. So just come back tomorrow. And it was a blessing to me because I don't think I had any other kind of interaction. At the gym that day, I would have never continued. Never. I would have never. If he had said anything inkling negative, I would have probably never went back because I was so intimidated, so depressed, unhappy. So yeah, of course. And one thing he also said when I was walking out of the door, which is important for people to know, is that he said, oh yeah, just know you will go faster and you will go longer. And I was like, look, dude, I'm happy with my 2 minutes. So I don't know what you're talking about. Faster is. And I tell people, and after that, I never saw him again. But little did he know, 16 months later, I would cross the finish line of my first 50-mile ultra marathon.
Oh man, I just got chill bumps. You can't see, but I got chill bumps. That's incredible. That's amazing.
I tell people it just starts minutes, right?
Yep. That's cool that some people get so, that didn't grow up in the gym or didn't have someone, to kind of mentor them or show them how to work out and use the machines. And it's very intimidating to take that first step for a lot of people, whether it be going to the gym or, taking your first step out and going running. Like it's very intimidating sometimes. And so when, to have that person to show you the ropes just a little bit, maybe that's very reassuring that there are still people out there that care about the individuals. And so I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. I tell people the victory is bittersweet because along that journey, I needed gear if I was going to do certain things, but I really couldn't find anything. I tell people what happened for me was I started at 2 minutes. 2 minutes turned into 4 minutes, and I just doubled up on minutes. When I got to 10 minutes, I was hoping I would find him so he could tell me what I needed to do next. But I just figured it out. I just kept it speed, adding a little more time. And I think it was about 4 to 6 weeks later, there was something in me that was like, and I think it was, in hindsight, it was me, there's part of me that said, okay, it's time to go a little faster because you're at speed where your body's like, oh, walking is cool, but running, you'll probably be comfortable. Just start running. just kind of took off from there. And I tell people I never meant to do an ultra marathon. Honestly, I didn't even know what an ultra marathon was before the first one. That what ended up happening is I finished 10K. I remember at this 10K, woman, I don't even know why I was listening to her, I was even around her, but she said, look, if you do a 5K, you can do a 10K. Do 10K, you can do a half marathon. You can do a half marathon, you can do a marathon. You do a marathon, you can do an ultra marathon. I was like, girl, please, I did my 10K. I'm good. I'm good. But something about what she said stuck in me. So then I did a half marathon. Then I found myself doing a marathon. And I remember right before I did my first marathon, I learned about ultra marathon from Ginger Runner. I was searching around on YouTube for just marathon running. And I stumbled on his station, and he was in the process of, this was a while ago, y'all. He had done a lot of marathons, but then he was trying to figure out, does he want to do a 50K or 100K or 100 mile or a 50 mile? And I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? I'm doing the marathon. That's all I'm doing. Just being with him and listening, he inspired me to kind of like think about doing an ultra marathon. And luckily for me, I did my marathon in June 2015. And the Woodstock Run, which was right down the street from my house. I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hill, Michigan was like 7 miles away. It was like, I don't know, maybe this is divine intervention. They had 2 training runs before. I said, look, I'm going to training run. Let me see what happens. If I don't do good, or if I don't feel like, I said a couple of things. First of all, let me do the marathon. If I feel good after a marathon, then I'll think about an ultra marathon. I felt so good at my marathon, I thought I could run another marathon. So that made me say, okay, try the ultra marathon. And when I went to my 2 training runs before the Woodstock runs, both of those runs, I did anywhere from 35 to 40 miles on those training runs.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, I guess we going. And I always thought,
That's a training run right there, 35 to 40 miles.
I was going to say,
Okay.
why'd you do 35 and 40 mile training runs?
a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. So your girl got lost. And I missed my turn and end up looping. It was like an 18 miler. So I end up looping around again. So
My gosh, that's too funny.
yeah, God's way of saying, we going to do this. So, okay.
Yep. He's going to show you.
I would have never done it. And so, like I said, and also, so then I'm doing, I'm getting ready for Woodstock. I'm getting ready to do this first ultra marathon. And I tell people, I was looking in the closet right before the ultra marathon. I had spent like $500 on packs, and that none of that shit really fit me correctly. I was like, here I am about to do my first race, and I don't even know what I'm going to wear. So to the library, checked out a sewing machine, because Ann Arbor, you could check out a sewing machine for the
Oh
library.
my gosh, that's funny.
I tore vests apart and then hacked them back together to fit me. And that's what I wore. And so that kind of was the beginning of my journey of thinking about, I just did it because, I was doing this ultra marathon. I thought I wanted longevity. I wanted to do it again and again. So I think that fits. But I tell people I waited like from 2015 to 2020. I said, the big brands know I'm out here running these ultras. They'll make more shit for me. And no, they did not. So during the pandemic, that I was like, maybe I need to do something or at least try. And so that's what I did. Talking to other runners. I work at Arizona. I moved to Arizona. It's funny because I moved to Arizona to do more trail running, but then the pandemic happened. So it kind of gave me time to think about trying this and starting a new business. And Arizona State University has a entrepreneurial program, and they end up awarding me money. I won their pitch competition. And so then the journey began, as I started to create a hydration vest, that also fits bigger.
Yeah, I like that. And I find it crazy. I'm a heavier runner. Comparatively to what runners, your typical body image, and I hate that word, your typical body image for a runner. But when someone thinks of a runner, they think of this real slim, skinny, that's what they think of. And like, that's not me. I grew up as a weightlifter for 20 plus years before I even really step foot on the trails. And so like, I have just this bigger build, I got my chocolate and my cake that I like to hang around my midsection, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to probably forever keep that because I love my sweets. But I'm still out there moving my body, and but I see a lot of companies, I'm wearing a large, extra large and a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of companies that don't sell the large, extra large, or their large, extra large is in reality a medium.
Medium.
And I'm like, man, what is going on here? And, I'm not saying this because I, resonate with anyone who has struggled not finding a size at all, but just even in my space, I understand, but I can't even imagine going into a place and they not having anything in your size, or nothing is working. It blows my mind. Personal experience, me and my wife went into a store. We were looking for clothing line, a jacket or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And the store told us they don't make things in your size. And I was like, let's get out of here right now. Let's leave. We will not ever give this store business ever again. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what? I just don't get it. Like, and yeah, I don't understand. I really don't. I don't get it. Why not you have so many plus size runners out there, tons of plus size runners changing their lives. They're all over the place. I see them, running out on the trails near me, on the roads. I see them on Instagram all the time. It's like, they're doing great things. Why not make a pack or clothing line that fits them? And so I'm so glad. When I saw you immediately, I was just like, we have got to get her on the podcast, because this is so cool. It's just the space that I want to give to you. And it's just like, I'm so thankful that you saw a need and you went after it.
I want to say two things in response to what you just said. Number one is, I do remember going to look for a hydration vest, and I was complaining at work about it, like, oh, I can't find it. And this woman said, oh, it just feels dehumanizing, right? And I was like, damn, like I hadn't really thought that right. Like it does feel dehumanizing. And I tell people, like, you mean to tell me that all these big brands sit around making this gear don't say to themselves, you know what, there just might be a fat black girl out on the trails running. Maybe we might need to make this just in case on the table and that, And I just remember thinking, when I started my business, I was like, I don't want people to feel that, like you've been abandoned. I don't want them to feel like, oh, you don't matter. And I said, especially for bigger body folks, I tell people I used to weigh 400 pounds. I got off my fat, started at 2 minutes at 2 miles per hour and went to an ultra marathon. Do you know the sheer volume of work that takes for that to happen? And the least the world can do is say, good job. Yeah. Here's some gear. Here's some apparel.
Yeah. No. Did you ever reach out to those, the big box brands, the Solomons, the Nathans? Did you ever reach out to them and ask, are they going to be making gear for plus size runners, or are they, have they considered it? Do they have those lines? I know Nathan has something, but it's still like, it's not the typical, how like the typical packs have that mesh. Well, theirs has like straps, and I'm like, I can't even imagine running for, 12, 15 hours with that strap just breaking into the side of me. Like, that would be awful. I'd be keeping squirrel's nut butter in business, but
for additional reasons for why you need
butter.
Reason. I reached out to them, no one really responded to me, but I used to go to these shows like Outdoor Retailer and stuff like that, and I would kind of get to maybe talk to a little rep. And sometimes people would be honest with me. They're like, we're not making that for y'all. Like, they were like, we don't see how we're going to make money. They didn't see in it. I bet you in a couple of years that will all change. But and also, I remember, I was like, because I had hoped, oh, I could work with the bigger brands. You guys already do this. You already have the infrastructure. The manufacturing. But I had to start like from the ground to build this thing. It just could have been so much easier. Because I will say this, I love Alternate Direction. I thought Nathan and them had nice packs, but I always had to adjust them. Love Solomon. I feel like Vesta pack is very much inspired from Solomon because I love the vest feel versus crappy vest packs. And so maybe one day that'll happen, but no one really responded to me.
That's crazy. I can't fathom it. So we've had a few creators on, of different gear. They saw a need in the community and they created it. I'd like to hear kind of the backstory, right? So you were creating not necessarily the backstory, because we kind of already heard that, but basically from your idea, like you started making your own packs, modifying the packs that you had already bought, right? But when you decided, you know what, I'm just going to open my own business and do this myself, like kind of walk us down the logistical side of things. Like, where did you go to get material? Who did you go to get like your branding, all of that type of stuff? I just kind of want to hear the logistic side of things.
All right. So I'm very much a bootstrapper. So it started in 2020 during the pandemic. I went to Joanne Fabrics and I went to in Tempe, Arizona. There's a dead stock store, so they sold all different kinds of fabric. And I just really had to go through a field, and then bring it home. And then I started drafting and I putting it together. None of it looked good, horrible, awful. But I was doing a lot of learning, kept dissecting what was on the market and trying to mimic it, right? Because I was like, well, what is it? Like? I did a lot of strappy in the beginning, but then no, I don't like it. Because when I would wear them, I was comfortable. Then I started learning about what is this process of making gear, right? And so I learned I needed to hire an industrial designer. So I did. I hired me an industrial designer who started to help me shape different designs for the vest. I ended up shifting away from the industrial designer because I felt like I knew what I wanted, but I wasn't communicating. So I needed more to that. I tell people that I was really blessed. I pitched my in the beginning. I never tell people that I went 2 minutes at 2 miles per hour, but then my mentor one day he tell the story because I get you money. I started pitching, and that pitching won me money, which allowed me to work with manufacturing, development, experiment, figure out, what this thing is really going to look like. And I will say I got this opportunity through Target, one of their accelerators. The woman said, look, we're going to work with you. She said, but you don't dumb it down. Just I said, I want my vest to look like Solomon's or similar, but for bigger bodies only, right? But I had some other design elements that I wanted for it that was different than Solomon. And Target, they did it. They found me manufacturers. I started getting samples at my house for free, thousands of dollars on samples that never were good, and hooked me up with a man really helped me to create the thing that I wanted to create that I knew would be good for bigger bodies. And that took a while, several years. And then there's the issue of, okay, you land on your prototype. And these particular manufacturers that I was working with, well, they worked with Target. So their minimums were like more than I could do. And finally, one of them said, look, we'll do a lower minimum. So it was like a total blessing. So that happened in early 2023. They allowed me to do 1,000 units. I didn't have to. I had some money from pitching, so it was like, I was going to go under anytime. And then I was part of REI's Embark program as well. So I had to understand about the outdoor industry and how to deal with retailers. And so, yeah, it was like, I feel like, wow, so happy back then. I kind of remember now because I finally got through it. So I'm happy. But it was a lot of, I'm going to say this, the world kept saying, oh, it's a great ideal. But it was clear that no one was really certain how to make it happen, how to grow the company, what to do. And I think that's still the case, that we're still trying to figure out how do we really blow this thing up? Because, our world is it is. So when you're talking about bigger bodies and all that, a little hesitant. They're like, yeah, we see the need, but, I don't know. It's just weird. It's just kind of weird when I think about it.
Yeah, it seems like, exactly. I know exactly what you're saying. How, they see a need there. They just don't want to do it themselves.
Yeah.
But it seems like you've had some really good help along the way. When did you start rolling them out and selling them?
They arrived on the shores of the U.S. in August of 2023. And I started offering them on the website in September 2023. And then we got blessed with USA Today nominated Best Pack is one of this top 10 outdoor innovations for 20. So that was really cool, which gave us a publicity that was pretty amazing. And then in 20 last year, I started working with REI. I applied to their green light. I was already part of the REI Embark program, but I was finally ready to like get these things in the stores because I was already doing some in-store sales, but very spotty at different locations, pop-ups, different times. And so now we're, in some stores. We'll grow and having conversations with retailers. And I would say the one thing that's happened to us, I think there's two things that's happened to this business that I really wasn't expecting. Number one is that over 50% of my customers are men. Yeah, because I think men are muscular. That's why I'm muscular in my tagline. And so they're just bigger. They're like, because they have more muscles and they can't fit those packs, And then we're selling internationally all over the world, like Netherlands, Australia, Europe, Italy, France. I mean, just wherever there's Trailrunner, I'm getting orders from. It's crazy. And I've done zero marketing. So somehow the word has spread. These people come into, which for me is good, kind of. But it's good for me to be able to say, this is a need.
Yeah. Well, and
it's not.
It goes to show right there, you've zero marketing and you've taken off. I mean, that goes to show exactly that. That's interesting that it was men that has been your highest seller so far. You brought up, the muscular and the bigger guys. I guess I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have thought, woman-owned business, they see your face when they on the Instagram and on the websites, and I would have just assumed that it would have been, marketed more towards women. So that's surprising to me that it is men that have been the primary purchasers. Now, is there I'm assuming not right now, but maybe something later in the market where you have kind of a men's pack and a women's pack, or is it just going to be a unisex?
No, it's a unisex. I always designed it unisex. Just was niching and trying to target only women. I will say this, I on in 2020, 2021, when I was doing market research, it told me that men were going to be my premier customer. And I was like, no, I need to focus on women.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that market research was 100% correct.
Yep. That's wild.
I didn't try, but the market was already there. They were going to buy. They know what they want. They're the gear. They spend money on gear. You know what I mean? I sit in the garage and buy another one. You know what I mean? Like, that's just... They buy a lot of gear.
Yep. I'm very guilty of that.
Yeah, me too. What's the new gear?
Well, I must be part male too because I got a lot of gear hanging around.
That's funny. That's funny. Hey, big guys need a pack too.
Okay.
That's awesome.
It's just been interesting how that has happened. And especially like Australia has been one of my, Lord, I mean, they've been super supportive too. Just like, I guess I thought about it, like the Australians are a little bit bigger, right? Germany, those are folks, they got bigger bodies. They are. And so, yeah, it makes sense that they would need this and want this. So, yeah.
Yeah. Where do you see your company going in the next 5-10 years? Like, what do you see taking on some of the big brands, or are you hoping maybe for like a buyout where they, Solomon comes in and like, hey, we see a need in this community. You've already done all the work for us. We're just going to buy you out. Do you see that, or like what do you think? If you want to share, I mean, of course you don't have. I'm asking all the hard questions here.
No, you are asking hard questions. I will say this. One of the things that I didn't do over the last 5 years is build community. The next 5 years has to be about building community. I'm just somebody who building a product. I was tapping into runners, but I wasn't on any grand scale. So building community. I would like more than anything to do collabs with Solomon, Ultimate Direction, Nathan, Outdoor Research, whoever, on some things, because I think I just bring a different perspective. I think also I'll be more brave about bringing prints and colors and stuff like that they're not gonna like probably do, but if they bring me on, then we can do it.
Yeah, because trail runners, they love their colors.
Yeah, I don't really get more. I don't know. I think people will respond to that pleasantly. I think what I would like to do also now is really to create a running collection of clothing uh, for bigger bodies. One things is like I like extra venting on shirt pants. I want to create a kind of fabric on the inner part because we rub our thighs together and our stuff wears out. How do I work those?
I understand the thigh rub. Robbie does not understand the thigh rub. He doesn't chafe. Robbie's your runner boy. Trust me, I don't walk outside without squirrel's nut butter on them thighs, so I got to.
Those clothes that they could wear for a long time and they don't wear out in the inner thigh or in the butt area because, of what happens naturally for us. I'm in the business of making products that do not exist. If it ain't broke, I ain't gonna fit,
Yeah.
I want to really design innovative stuff that really meets the needs of bigger bodies that do run and are physically active and then do endurance sports. And so that's the future for me. If I'm sold out, somebody buys me out, that's cool. I'm
not opposed.
Those green coins will go in my pocket just as fine.
I like it.
But I just really want to spread awareness. And I just want to reward bigger bodies for getting our butts out there and doing it, right?
Absolutely.
I don't care. If I finish a race, I'm the last one to finish the race. Who cares? I finished it. I always tell people I will show a medal in a heartbeat. I'll be like, got my medal. Do you understand?
Hey, you covered the same distance as the person that walked across the finish line first.
Same medal as elite runners, honey. Ain't no different. So yeah. So just really trying to inspire and allow people to know you're doing it. And I just want people also to to understand that I don't know what size your body needs to be. And I'm not here to tell you that. Get with the body you got and be all right. I tell people I could have gotten caught up on, I can't do ultra marathon. Because at the time I probably was still weighing maybe 300 pounds. But I didn't let that stop me. I just did it. You know what I mean? So I want people to just do what they need to do for them and know that their bodies are capable of so much. And I think fat bodies are designed for ultras. Okay. I just do. I feel like we have all those fat cells, all that extra energy. We can, yeah.
And our aid stations are built.
Yes.
Built to eat. And they put a buffet in front of us. An ultra marathon is an eating contest. It's an eating contest. Come on.
Eat a lot at ultra marathon. About 16 to 20 miles in, my stomach's like, oh no, girlfriend. We either gonna run or we gonna eat. Now you think what to do, but we ain't doing both. And so out 20, I gotta get my calories liquid or at least soft food ways.
Yep. It's funny that you mentioned clothing line, because one thing that I struggle with is I have bigger legs, right? I have those days of the big heavy squats and powerlifting days. And that muscle doesn't go away really quick because I still lift a lot. So I keep these big legs, and I struggle with shorts.
Yeah.
Because the legs are, they're sometimes they're just really tight. That and liners. I can't wear liners. Let's get out of here. I got to cut them things out immediately. But there's a few companies that do, but very rarely do companies include shorts. Robbie, you stay out of the conversation on this one.
I'm just listening.
Robbie's got those little bird legs. But you know what I'm saying? Why are we putting liners in shorts? Because that doesn't resonate with probably half the community. That I know tons of people that just cut the liners straight out automatically. So
I think if you want to put it in there, it's not. If you want to wear a legging, whatever that those short, I don't do all that. So if people want to wear something under the short, I get you. I understand. It's not my jam.
Yeah. Cut them out. Have you been to any big events, putting on put a tent out and show some of your gear off at some of these big races or some the runners event or any of those type of places?
In 2022, I went to the Boston Run Show. That was huge. That was before I had my product. I had a line down the thing. People are like, we got to get this. And I didn't have any product, which, I'll never forget that. But I was still in product development, but it was a good test for like, oh, there are people that really want this, and I got a lot of people on my. So that was cool. Outdoor retailer in 2023. I think I was a speaker. They talking about making size inclusive here. I have not done races. It's so funny you bring that up because I have my office is in the Air Viper Runs headquarters. And I need to ask them. I said to myself if I can who's that there because they're starting to expand. Like, I mean, they have races all over the country almost. And so, yeah, I need to do that. That's definitely something.
Just go knock on the door and say, "Hey, Jamil, let me holler at you for a second. I need my packs at your races."
He's got a whole to be in there. He'll come by and say hi. He's super mad cool. So yeah, I'm sure he would be more than happy to let me come. I just never. Yeah.
Well, we gotta get you in there. Cocodona's in a couple months. We got, we got Black Canyon's in a couple weeks. We got Javelina in October. Like, let's make this happen.
Coldwater Rumble.
Coldwater Rumble just happened. Yeah.
Now they got California races and they're like, I'm like, Jesus, every race, mercy. So yeah, I think that's my next step because I do think that this is the community that's going to help me grow.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they're the ones that need it.
Yep. Stepping back a little bit, back to your running community or your running career. When you were a road runner, what was your big difference that you noticed when you stepped into the trail world?
Oh, the number one thing I noticed when I stepped on the trails was I had better recovery happened easier, quicker, faster. I remember running on the ground. I remember the road. I could tell how hard it was. And as a bigger bodied person, you're like a lot of force. And so to go to the ground, the dirt, it was like heaven.
Yeah.
Just less aches and pains and weird stuff going on. Although I woods, but it was just so. Also, I felt deeply connected. I tell people the other thing that I loved about, doing trail running is that like connected spiritually with God and the woods. And I always tell people, I feel like I could hear God talking to me all these years when I was depressed and, really wanting to live. But I tell people it took a 50-mile ultra marathon for me to
to hear him.
Because I remember distinctly when I did that Woodstock run on the 48th mile. When I got to the 48th mile, I knew where I was. Now I knew I was 2 miles from the finish because it's near a parking lot that I park at. So I knew exactly where it was in relationship to the finish line. And I remember I just cried and I fell to the ground. And because I realized in that moment that I really could be dead right now, right? That, 16 months ago, I was in an emergency room where a doctor was like, girl, you got a lot of stuff going on. You know what I mean? You are not doing well. And here you are 16 months later, about to finish a 50-mile ultra marathon. And so it was just really one of those really profound moments of realizing like I was worthy, I deserved to live, I deserve, I could do great things because who would have imagined, couldn't even imagine me doing an ultra marathon, but there I was getting ready. I knew I only had 2 more miles to go. And I knew those 2 miles so well that I could have crawled those if I needed to. But I knew I was going to finish and it changed my life. I'm here to say that it changed my life. I feel like trail running healed my depression. Definitely healed my body, of course, no more blood pressure, high blood pressure, cholesterol, blah, blah, blah. But my mind, which was probably my biggest challenge. And then I never felt more better in my body. I'm being out on the trails, So I think for me, it's like I make these vests, not because I'm trying to sell a vest. I'm trying to sell people back their lives to say, like, you can do amazing things, babe. I'm here to be a witness, a demonstration to let you know that you too, in that body that you're in, and that, you just start small and you can build up. And because there is something, I'm gonna say this. So at the time I was working at the University of Michigan in the engineering department. There's a lot, engineers do a lot of running. Okay. So I came into work after my 50-mile ride with my medal, like, Bad. They were mad. All of them were jealous, mad. And then they would all come around to me all the time. Like, I'm doing my next 50 marathon next year. And I'm because in their mind, they could not see she did a 50-mile marathon. What? And so they all got inspired. They all were like, I'm doing one too. I'm doing one too. So it was cool. It was cool to kind of have that moment, see how that can be inspirational for others. A lot of skinny white guys, whatever. But just for them to know, and for me to know, and for us to know, like your body doesn't have to be it really doesn't. And yet, an ill, but a little movement and hydration really can go a long way.
Sure. Now, does your packs come with a bladder, or do they do bottles up front, or which one?
So I send them out with a 2-liter water bladder.
Okay.
For Hydro Pack, they put our logo on them, so they're co-branded. So that's really so cool, and I love that. Anything goes wrong with those ones, they can go to Hydro Pack, and Hydro Pack will give you another one. So I love people having that kind of security and knowing they don't have to worry about their water bladder. And then we do have some soft flasks. I usually give those out as gifts. I will give them out until I run out. Probably buy some more and then sell them. So, but yeah, it comes with the water bladder.
I use a bladder a lot during the winter time frame. So,
yeah,
I really like a bladder. Robbie, you got anything, or are we hitting quick fires?
I got a couple here.
I figured he did.
You kind of answered the question with the little. Anyways, the question is, you went to the doctor, had all this stuff going on. I'm sure you've got the I don't even like to drive 50 miles type thing. All the stuff that we're crazy people. We are crazy.
Essentially.
So you went from marathon to trail, as most people do, but what do you have to say to people that are like on the fence of just changing their mindset and their body with depression, overweight, whatever your element is? What's that next step for people to take without having to seek a doctor to get out there and start doing something for themselves?
My number one advice always is to people is start where you are, like whatever that is, and don't judge yourself. You know what I mean? I tell people I get up every morning, I do whatever I'm going to do. I have plans. If I go out for 5 miles, I only do one, I say, it's all good, babe. You did the one here. You know what I mean? If I go out for 5 miles and do 10, good job. It's still a good job. But I do think that, I think too many times people try to do much too quickly. I'm really living witness like this. Trust that every day. It really gets better, and you will see yourself doing more. And I don't know about other people, but I loved 2 weeks later, I would say, oh my God, you're running 30 minutes. And then 3 months later, I'm like, oh my God, you can run for 15 minutes without stopping. I loved all those little victories along the way that, you can't get to if you're just doing too much, or you're judging yourself, or you're feeling like you can't do anything, or you're not willing just to start. I think we all want to run the 50. Everybody comes up to me like, oh my God, I know I got to run 50 miles. I'm like, no, you don't, boo boo. No, you don't. And I told a lot of people, I said, well, how do you wrap your mind around it? I was like, I don't.
You can't.
Yeah.
Ultramarathons, 1 fucking mile at a time, okay? Have that negotiation, me, my body, and the trail, and then we decide what we're going to do next. And that's just the best way to get to it. But I say, listen to your body, trust you. I'm not big on coaching. I need people to know that I just went out every day and did what I could do. And I celebrated that by saying, okay, you did the best you can. So, and I just saw myself getting better and better. There's times when I would fall off the wagon, so to speak, and maybe only do a little bit. But then in time, I would always do a little bit more. Think, particularly for those of us in bigger bodies, we live in a world that tells us there's something wrong with our bodies, and we have gotten to the point where we have neglected them, we have abused them, we ignore them, we don't take good care of them. And so we got to get back to the business of taking care of our own bodies. Forget what everybody else said. We got to be committed to us. Get up every day and say, thank you, body. Thank you. You brought me here, even though I really wasn't good to you. Could have put me 6 foot under like last year, but and so I just think if people like embrace that, like, okay, fuck the world. They gonna say, they gonna do what they gonna do. This is you and your body. Celebrate, honor, be grateful for it. In all its unique, nuanced way. God made us the way we are, and that you can be healthy and do phenomenal things in a bigger body. That's the thing. Just get on my nerves. Like, do something. No, I'm here to tell you, you could be a woman. You can have hips, curves, more muscles, taller, and you can do great things. So, yeah, that's my message. Hopefully, a moment of inspiration.
I like it. Got to think about ourselves first. A lot of people worry about what other people think before putting themselves first.
For sure.
So this, journey you've been on has been a little over a decade. From deathbed to gear designer, entrepreneur, runner. What have you learned about yourself in this short time? I mean, 10 years could seem like a long time to a lot of people, but I'm sure it's been a blur for you. And a lot of times we see an end goal, but we forget where we're at right now. So what is the last 10 plus years? What have you learned about yourself?
Man, you sit up in the corner over there, you're like totally quiet, and then you come out with the big questions.
That's why he says the analytical one.
That's when they sneak up on you. So it's so funny you mentioned that, because I did say I'm going to do the Woodstock run this September 2015, celebrate my 10-year anniversary. And what I've learned about myself is that, like, I am worthy and I deserve to live, which is something I did not believe when I went into that. What I've learned about myself is that little moments of effort add up quickly. I think what I've learned about myself is when you do a 50-mile ultramarathon, you become a bad bitch, because can't nobody tell you shit. Like, really? Like, have you? Okay, then what?
Yeah. Love
Please
that.
walk.
I love that.
Shut up. Please do whatever you're going to do. Did you? Come on now. And it's just taught me, it has taught me. So you have to understand, I'm somebody who was depressed for a long time. I really did not want to be here on this planet. And to be 180 degrees from that, to want to live, to enjoy being alive, is something I hadn't really expected, but it happened as part of the journey. I thought I would never leave those dark days. I really didn't. But I love that I learned that, that too shall pass and can pass, that if I just hang in there. And I love that I get to be a demonstration for all those folks out of there that feeling the same level and kind of darkness that I felt. Like, look, y'all, we can get to the light. It's going to take, 2 minutes or 2 miles an hour on the treadmill, but we can get there. And it's taught me that anything I put my mind to, I can do. I mean, I am somebody who went from 2 minutes at 2 miles per hour to a 50-mile ultramarathon. I am somebody that went from an idea to having a business that sells product globally. How the fuck does that happen? It happens because I showed up and I did whatever. I just did the best I could. And when you do the best you can, great things happen. So that's what I learned.
Love it. I love that. She showed you, Robbie.
Yep. I almost got some tears over here.
Yeah, she's she is.
When he asked me the question.
Hey, she studied. We always end our podcast with some quick fire questions. Yeah, so we're gonna hit you
Oh my
hard, but
goodness.
we're not gonna hit you that hard because these are questions
Okay.
that you already know the answer to.
I do.
You already know the answer to, or at least you should.
You
So,
Let
should.
us hope.
so
Let
here we go. Here we go. And I'm gonna ask you a couple, but they're gonna be easy. What
Okay.
is your go-to nutrition?
My go-to nutrition is nut butter.
Is
I
what?
love nut butters
Okay.
and avocado. I have
Okay.
to have soft foods. Remember, my stomach's like, we running or we mine. So yeah,
Okay. Favorite shoes?
ultra
Okay.
wide toe,
Yeah. Okay.
spread. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
What is your favorite clothing brand? If you have favorite shorts, top, whatever it may be, just let us know. I have people reach out to me like, oh, I didn't know that brand existed. So there may be some people out there that may hit you up. So you never know.
I'm gonna say I'm a Fabletics girl. I have witnessed them really transform and really expand their offerings. I like outdoor research. I have to say this. I wear tell people I'm an accidental cross-dresser. I wear a lot of men's shit.
I wear women's
Because-
tights, so it's okay.
See, we're all cross-dressers. I wear a lot of men's stuff because I'm taller, bigger. So some of the brands. I'm a sales rack queen. So I'm not really
Yep.
true. I buy what I can find in my size and what I can get for the price that I want to pay. So I'm not really, besides my shoes, I'm going to say my shoes. Oh, like I wear Hoka, Ultra, Asics. Those are my three main shoes. And I don't spend that money. I buy, but when it comes to clothes, I'm left.
Okay. All right. If you could sum your life up with a movie or TV character, who would that be and why?
I'm going to say this because this is the first thing that came to mind, but I don't know if it's really true or not. But I would say Olivia Pope, that I'm a trouble somebody who can resolve stuff. I can make shit happen either for me or for the world. So, yeah, I would say Olivia Pope.
Okay. All right. On that same resonance, this is Robbie's favorite question, but if you could be a dinosaur, which one would you be?
Man, y'all making me go back to grade school. I don't remember. I would want to fly. So whatever.
It's always the pterodactyl. It's
It's always the pterodactyl.
every
I want
every runner's a pterodactyl.
to fly. So whatever dinosaur that is.
All right. Oh, pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
So
Here
if
we
you
go.
ever get that question again, you already know. They're like, man, I was asked that weird question that one time on that podcast.
Now I have the.
Got you. Well, Charlotte, we'll give you some time. Shout out who you want to shout out. Where can people find you? Where can people buy your packs? Where can people buy your gear? Where can they follow you on social media? Lay it all out on the line. Let people know.
Okay, you can find Conscious Gear. First and foremost, because it's important for me to say this, you can go online at REI and buy Vesta Pack from Conscious Gear. Just go on your computer right now, Google, can go get it right now. And you can go to our website at Conscious, CONSCIOUS -gear, GEAR.com. And then we're on all the social medias. That has happened, but we're on all. Facebook, it's called Conscious Gear Store. Instagram, Conscious Gear 1, because somebody owns Conscious Gear and they won't sell it to me. But anyways, and everything else, Snapchat, TikTok, Lemonade, Red Note, you name it, I'm on them at Conscious Gear. So you'll find me. I'm all over the place. I got a little spattering Conscious Gear, a little bit of everywhere, just so in case people are looking for us. So wherever they are, they probably will be able to find. And then LinkedIn and YouTube. I got a YouTube channel.
There you go.
So, and I plan on doing a little bit more with that, sharing with people my journey to creating this collection of apparel. So I'm excited about that.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and telling your story. Absolutely amazing. I'm going to get one. I need to see what it's like. I need to put it to the test. We're going to do it. We're going to get one.
Sounds like a plan. Look, you
Awesome.
guys. You're
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
For creating space for us, like you said, ordinary runners, you know what I mean? That we just get out there, we just do our best. We are not the elite runners. We are not on the podiums, but nonetheless, we are still out there and we are worthy of being celebrated. So I appreciate you guys doing this amazing, wonderful. Whatever I can do to help, please let me know.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. If you like Charlotte's podcast, please leave us a review, leave us a subscribe on YouTube, leave us a comment on the Instagram post. Do whatever you can. This helps to get Charlotte's podcast out to more people, and we'll see you on the trails.